Okay, I'm going to show you how to do a faux entrelac in on the loom in the round. It's going to be different in flat, but I'm going to show you in the round. And this is kind of what it looks like. And the reason why I'm calling it a faux entrelac is because normally the stitches go at an angle. And what I'm doing here is the stitches are going straight up so that there is no cutting involved, there is no adding stitches back. It's a much simplified version, but it's still a lot to keep up with. But if you understand patterning and everything, you'll be able to keep up with this, and it shouldn't be as difficult as it looks. So I'm going to explain this. You have a starting point, which is always going to be a triangle, okay? And I'm giving an odd number and an even number on your start. And you want to find out what your two middle pegs are. And normally there is a middle peg. So if you have 7, your fourth peg over will be your middle peg, okay? And then you have 2 middle pegs here, and it's going to be 4 and 5. Okay, and those are your middle pegs, and you've got to keep up with it. So you can do any number you want. You just need to have the middle peg in place, okay? And you can go as big as you want. Just keep up with that middle peg. And here's how it's going to work after. Okay, to do the triangle, which is what we're fixing to do, you have to start out and work your way in. If you've done socks, you'll have done a lot of this techniquing kind of thing, and this shouldn't be a difficult thing. It's keeping up with it, alright? Because each short row section is part of a row, and when I write it out, I'm going to show you what the row breakdown is, but then I'm going to do a parentheses section that shows what it looks like in shorthand. Okay, but I want to explain what you're doing on a visual point. Okay, to get started, what you're doing is you're starting and you're knitting to just before the last peg of your set, which is a total of 7 or 8, and you're wrapping and turning. Then you're knitting your way over until just before the last peg, and you're wrapping and turning, and then wrapping and turning until you're down to a point. Okay, that's how you create the triangle. So you wrap and turn all the way down to your point, and then what you do is you knit 2 together all the way back, and then you start on the next 7 pegs. Okay, so it's a section thing. And as you can see here, I've done a section thing, so you can count it: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we'll have 2 more sections, which is 9 and 10, and I'm working on an 80 peg, and I'm doing the 8 patterning. And it works the same on there, except you're going to be you're going to get it all the way wrapped down to the last 2, and I'll show you how that's done, but it's the same concept. Okay, but when you work towards the diamond, it'll work a little differently. When you work to the diamond, you work to the middle on the 7 peg on the odd number. On the odd number, you work to the very middle, and you wrap and turn. So you'll knit over 4, and then you'll wrap and turn the next peg. Then you'll knit and wrap and turn the next peg because you're working your way out, so you'll see that wrap and turn there. You'll knit and knit those 2 together, which is that little wrap thing there. Then you'll wrap and turn the next peg, and this is all in one thing, and knit over, knit those 2 together, wrap and turn. Okay, and this is how this works, and you work your way out, and you're knitting 2 together to work your way out. So you're knitting a little, wrapping and turning, knitting a little, wrapping and turning, little, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit a little, knit 2 together, wrap and turn. As you can see, you're working your way out. Okay, but then you start working your way back in, just like you did here, and you're not knitting 2 together until you get to the point, and you need to work your way back to the next set of pegs. Okay, so you decrease your way down with wraps and turns all the way to the point, like we just did here, and then you're going to knit 2 together to start to your next 7 pegs. Okay, it works the same with the 8, but you're dealing with your 2. So your first wrap and turn is going to be past your 5th peg. It's going to go and wrap peg 6. Alright, so if you have 2 middle pegs as your center point, you want to count those 2 as your middle and go to the next one which will be your wrap and turn if you're doing an even number that's bigger than 8, or you're doing one that's 6. I've done both. I've done 7, I'm doing 8, I've done 6. You can do this in any number. It's just keeping this concept in mind, okay? And it's a wrap and turn. It's knit, purl, knit 2 together, purl 2. Well, it's not purl 2 together unless you're working a sock. But it's a really simple, basic stitch patterning. Stitch work, but it's the patterning that's going to be more complicated, but it's not as complicated as actual entrelac. Okay, so what you want to do is, we're getting started, is you want to work your next 8 pegs. So what I do is I knit over 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wrap and turn, knit over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wrap and turn, knit over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, wrap and turn, knit over 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, wrap and turn, knit over 2, 3, wrap and turn, knit over 2, wrap and turn, knit 1, wrap and turn, wrap and turn. Then you're going to knit 2 together all the way back to your next 8 pegs. So you're going to knit 2 together 4 times. Then you have your next 8. I'm going to show you one more time how this is done so that you see the sectional codes. We just did a section. See how it looks similar to the rest? Okay, I'm going to show you one more time. You move to the next 8 pegs. It's done in sections on a single row. Okay, so you knit over 7, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, wrap and turn, knit over 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, wrap and turn. And what if you're going to stitch mark these, which you may want to, I don't. I kind of go off of what I'm looking at, and you'll want to do one set because you're going to have a diagonal. You want to do one set and you're starting and finishing one color, and your stagger one in another color. That's my suggestion, but I will also show you how to pick up on how to keep up with it if you don't want to do stitch markers. I'm just not one to do stitch markers. Yes, I live life dangerously, but it's a rare thing for me to use stitch markers, mostly if I want to be lazy and not pay attention. Okay, so we've reached the beginning. Alright, now what occurs in between each row? So if you do this and then you do this, you need to purl the row. You need to get everything back down to a single stitch. Alright, so you are purling 2 together, excuse me. So it's knit 2 together, purl 2 together, knit, purl. We're talking some real basic work here. Nothing that's moving a whole bunch of stuff over. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to purl those 2 together. So you want to get everything back down to a single stitch. So if you have 2 stitches, purl them together. If you have single stitches, purl them together, and you want to do this all the way around. And then I'll show you the diamond. Okay, you're going to see I've used a different yarn, and it's because I really want the stitch to pop, and I've been trying to figure out which yarns are going to do great. With a hat pattern like this,
And I'm going to tell you that it's going to be Landscape Lions brand or Unforgettable in the red heart. And this is the Looking Glass one. Okay, and what that is that it has just it's not a too short of a color change, but it's enough that you could have a complete color on a complete row, and then it changes, or it's got at least 2 rows that have the same color. That's what you want for this kind of thing, so that it really pops the squares out in different colors. So we're to where we're going to start the diamond, and we're going to be working from the center out and back up to the top of the diamond, okay? And I had pointed out a diagram. We're working with the 8. And so we're going to be wrapping and turning, and we're going to be knitting 2 together. So we're going to be working our way out and back in. And this is what you want to keep in mind. Your center 2 points. We've already gone through that. Okay, but what you want to do is we're going to show a stagger. Right out the gate, we're going to show a stagger. Okay, so here's our point. We want to go and we want to start our middle point over here. So because it's 8, we want to knit over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Because we use 2 pegs in the middle, 9. Alright, that gives us our 2 pegs right there. So then at that point, you're going to do 1 more than your, because you have 2 for the middle. So if you only have 1, then you go over that many. The actual number of pegs and start. If you're doing 2, you want to go 1 more over. So we're doing 9 over to start the stagger, and we're going to go from there on an even peg. So we're going to wrap and turn, and we're going to knit 2 because those are our 2 middle points. Alright, then we're going to wrap and turn. Let me see if I can't lift that up a little. Okay, wrap and turn, knit 2, and then knit 2 together. Then you wrap and turn, knit 3, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit 4, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit 5, knit 2 together, and wrap and turn. And you should have 8 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now you're going to work your way back up to the point. So you're going to knit over 5. You're going to wrap and turn, and then you're going to knit over 4. You're going to just work your way to the point, wrap and turn, knit 3, wrap and turn, knit 2, wrap and turn, knit 1, then wrap and turn, then you're going to get back to your starting point. So you're going to knit 2 together 4 times, 2, 3, 4. Alright, you've just completed a diamond. You want to be able to move over to your next diamond. And so what you want to do is you want to knit over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because remember, your 2 middle points on the 8 is 4 and 5. Alright? So you're going to knit over 5, and that gets you started with the next one. So you're going to wrap and turn, knit 2, wrap and turn, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit 3, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit 4, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit 5, knit 2 together, and then you're going to start working your way back up because you have 8 covered. So knit 5, wrap and turn, knit 4, wrap and turn, knit 3, wrap and turn, knit 2, wrap and turn, knit 1, wrap and turn, knit 2 together 4 times, 1, 2, 3, 4. You've just completed another diamond, and you're going to continue this process all the way around. And you, just to get started again, I'll show you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's if you're doing your even number of an 8. If you're doing 7, you're going to knit over 4. If you're doing 10, you're going to knit over 6 and start again. For instance, if you're doing the stagger, which we're already showing you the stagger, you knit over 7 and start. If you're doing 10, for instance, you're going to knit over 11 and start, because you have 2 middle pegs rather than 1. So you just want to add 1 to that. So that's your stagger. So go ahead and complete this row. I'm showing you in the round. So complete this row, and then we'll do another purl row, and then I'll show you how to set up the next one. And then you're just going to repeat back and forth the staggered diamond and then the other diamond, the staggered diamond and the other diamond. So we're getting close to where you can start your repeat. So this is where we're going to start. So you're going to start here. When I tell you to start from a starting point, to continue a repeat, you're going to start here after this row here. This is the row you're going to start with. Alright, and so go ahead and pause the video, complete your row, and then I will show you how to do the next row. Now I realized when I got to my last one that I'll have to explain this, because you're going to be going over your starting point a little to do the last diamond, and you need that because you want to continue the diamonding all the way around. So to prep your last diamond, go ahead and knit your 5 over, which is going to get you at your starting peg. Alright, that's okay, not a problem. You're going to see how this works out. Wrap and turn, knit 2. You're going to do just like you've been doing. Okay, knit 2 together, wrap and turn, knit 3, knit 2 together. Okay, you're just going to do just like you've been doing. Okay, and this will work the same on the odd numbers. You're just going to be crossing over, and that's going to be okay. It's not going to be a big deal, okay, because you'll get right back to a starting point, and this is where you'll like this, okay, because it's not going to be as difficult as you think to get back to your starting point. You got to work back down to a point, right? Okay, here we go. We're working our way to the top of the diamond real quick, and you'll see what I am talking about. Okay, almost there. And a little bit further. And there, knit 1, wrap and turn, wrap and turn. Alright, instead of knitting over, we're going to start our purl row right here. Okay, so you're going to purl 2 together, purl 2 together, purl 2 together, and you're going to find you have 8 to purl 2 together. This is okay. We're just wanting to purl everything. If there's 2 stitches on it, purl it together. If there's 1, just purl it, okay? So this is what I call a purled row. If it's got 2 stitches on the peg, purl the 2 together. If it's got 1, just purl 1 together. But your first 8 stitches are going to have 2 on them. Okay? So what you're going to do is purl all the way around to get you back to square 1. And that should stop you at your starting point. Again, you never lose your starting point, really. And there's my single stitches. So what you want to do is go ahead and pause the video. I prepped you for this row. Alright, pause the video, purl all the way around. Again, if it has 2 stitches, get them down to 1. If it has 1 stitch, just purl it. Alright, so go ahead and purl your way all the way around, and then I'll show you the next set of diamonds. But as you can see, there is your diamonds, and they're all changing to color. And that's the reason why I'm suggesting the unforgettable or the landscape as your options for yarn colors, because the color change isn't too fast, but it's not too slow. I've tried the yarn cakes. If you're going to do like a blanket that's huge or something, if you're going to do a cowl that's bigger, you could probably go ahead and use one of the cakes because they have a wide range of color change going on. If you're doing a small project like a baby sock or something, you can use one that changes up quicker. Probably ones you'd use for color pooling, about 9 to 10 inches, and that you could probably use that for small projects like baby socks and stuff. But for any mid project, for like adult socks and hats and stuff, I would suggest using the Landscape Lions brand or the Red Heart Unforgettable, and it'll really make that faux interlac pop. The other option is when you got to change and do the next set of diamonds, you can change your color then. It's still much easier than the actual original authentic entrelac, the original entrelac that gets done. Okay, so this is just a simplified version for a look. You're not going for the authentic. And it'll make it easier to change colors. If you want to do a row of diamonds, it's a different color. After this row, you would want to change your color. Alright, so when you get back to your starting point, you want to change your color if you want to do that. But if you don't want to change color, you just want to knit, those are the options on. And if you know something that's similar or maybe in a different brand, go for that. But that's what I would suggest using. And you definitely want to probably stick with even number pegs. I find that's probably going to be easier. But go ahead and pause the video, get your row purled, and then I'll show you how to do the next set of diamonds. Okay, I've purled myself all the way around, and now it's time to start my next set of diamonds. If you're going to change color now. Okay, so you can see we're at the top point of a diamond right here, and we need to get to that point there. This is easy. Simply knit over 5 for your 8 peg set right now. If you're doing 7, 4, if you're doing 10, then you need to knit over 6. But for now, you're going to knit over 5. And then you're just going to start like you've been doing with your diamond. Wrap and turn, knit 2. Wrap and turn, knit 2 together there, wrap and turn. So you're going to just go back to what you've been doing with your diamond. It's mostly the prep work is where you're at. What you need to keep in mind for your prep work. And then once you get started with the next row of diamonds, it's pretty just self-explanatory. If you've already got the diamond concept going, it's really not difficult to keep going. The trick is just getting your patterning set up, getting it figured out. Once you do, it's kind of gets easier. It gets more, you can just kind of chill out and follow it. Okay, so we're working back to our point. Now, the challenge will probably be for if you want to do a hat like this and you want to continue this stitch pattern all the way to the crown so that you have a beautiful, smooth diamond crown. I will show that in this video because it is going to be a challenge. If you want to do this for a cow, not so much. Okay, so I finished that diamond and I'm ready to start the next one, which means I need to be over here. So I need to knit over 5. Okay, so we're knit over 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then you want to wrap and turn and start prepping your diamond again. Now, when you do this diamond patterning all the way around, you should stop exactly at your starting point. You're not going to have an overlap. So you'll end up knitting your 2 together 4 times and you'll be right here. So this one's going to be no overlap. You're just going to do your diamonding all the way around and you're going to end up stopping here, and then you'll purl everything together again. So go ahead and pause the video and complete this diamond row here. And then I will show you the last row of the set. And then you're going to go back to that starting point where I told you to, and just keep repeating over and over until you get the length you want. Now I'm starting to find out that my head might be a little short, and you may need to do more sets than what I do to make a hat for yourself, or for somebody else. You may want to use. I find that because the purling of this patterning and stuff, I don't think it narrows it out as much as like some of the brioche stitch. It narrows it out, so you want to use a bigger loom for an adult head and that kind of thing. But this one doesn't narrow it out. I think that if you usually use an 80 peg for an adult hat, you'll be fine. That's not going to be a problem. You'll still be able to use the 80 peg for an adult hat. So go ahead and pause the video, complete this diamond row. I'll show you the last row and tell you to do the repeat. And then when I get my hat worked up to the point of a crown, I will show you how to go in and take this diamonding stitch to continue it to a crown, so that the crown is smooth and beautiful and you don't get any breakup in this beautiful stitch work, because it really pops with this yarn. So go ahead, pause the video, and then we'll move on from there. Okay, we're down to our last square. As you can see, we're 4 from the start. And correct this. Okay, as you can see, we're 4 from the start. So you just knit those 2 over like you normally would, because you're not doing a crossover. Okay. So what you want to do now is you want to purl everything together. So if there's 2 stitches, purl them together. If there's single stitches, just purl them. And this is the last row of the set. Then you're going to start where I told you to, and you're just going to keep repeating over and over this setting where you have 1 row of diamonds, stagger the row of diamonds, 1 row of diamonds, stagger the row of diamonds. You're just going to keep repeating that over and over until you start to get the length you want. So as you can see, here's 1 diamond, here's the next diamond, and you can see that you have that distinct change even from here to here to here. And I'm already starting to work into the next color. So my next set of diamonds is going to have another set of colors. You're going to keep doing that. And then if you're really wanting to continue with this beautiful stitch pattern, to continue it to the crown, where the crown is beautiful and smooth, and I will show you that. Normally I don't, but I think it'll make a huge difference to want to do the continuance of the stitch patterning with this particular pattern, and I have a feeling y'all are really going to want to do some hats using this method, and it's really a stitch pattern that really pops when you use variegated yarns. Okay, so pause the video, do your purled row. If it's 2 stitches, knit them together, purl them together, purl single stitches, get yourself way around, start back at the point I told you to, and just keep repeating from here over and over again until you get the length you need. Then I will show you, if you want to do a hat and keep it smooth, how to do a crown. I have completed 4 total sets, and the way you know is 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now I'm ready to do my crown, which is going to have to actually be sewn up. This isn't some drawstring thing. Okay, so I've already done 3, and I have 2 more left to do. And what I'm doing is I'm going in like I'm going to start my next set. But what I'm doing is, in order to start my next set, I'll do the first 2 like normal almost. Okay, so you knit your 9 over into your diamond, just like you're going to start the patterning over again, just like it. Okay, you're going to go and you're going to almost finish the 2, but instead of knitting the 4 over, you're going to be going back. Alright, and I'm going to show you that. And then you're going to be doing a diamond in between those 2. Okay, so basically you're creating a point. So it's a 2 diamond and a single diamond. You're creating a point. Alright, and I'm going to show you how that's done. But in order to get started with this, you'll do the knit over 9, and then you'll get started on your diamond. I'm going to show you how that's done. I'm going to show you how to finish it. So I'm going to show you how to do one set, and then I'm going to go in and show you how to finish the last set, which is going to be crossing over here. And we're going to do a little bit of a different bind off, but not by much. Okay, so I'm going to knit over 5, but get to your middle point. Always remember that, get to your middle point. Okay, wrap and turn, knit 2, wrap and turn, knit 2, knit 2 together, wrap and turn. You've seen this process, so I'm not going to do it real slow, because mostly what you need to get in this is the concept of what I'm up to. So I got to get my first diamond set up. Then I'll have to get my second diamond set up, and then it's showing you how to do that middle diamond from where you're at, okay? But it's pretty self-explanatory for the first two. And that's what you want to do. You want to split this up so that it's in sections. And mine just happened to work out at 5. Yours might work out at 4, but you're wanting to work it down like this. Okay, I finished that first diamond. I'm going to go over and do the second diamond. The knit over 5. And if you get the entrelac socks that I put up, that I'm planning on putting up along with this, what you're doing with this is going to be the same thing you're going to do for like the heel section. You're going to do the 2 diamonds, and then you're going to do this middle diamond for a heel section. You're just going to continue along like I'll show. Alright, I've almost got this diamond ready so that you can see the middle diamond. Okay, here's where it's different. Instead of wrapping and wrapping like we normally would, we're not going to do that. We're just going to wrap, and then we're going to work back 8 stitches. Alright, so you're going to purl that single one, purl 2 together 3 times, and this is going to work the same. You just purl back however many pegs you're using. Okay. Alright. I'm back my 8. Alright, now I'm going to start with that one I finished. Okay. I'm going to knit over 5. 1, 2, 4, 5. Wrap and turn, and then do a diamond like you have been. You've just set up to put it in the middle of the 2 diamonds you just made. Alright. So at this point you're just going to follow your diamonding pattern like you've been doing. And turn. Alright, work my way down to my point. And this goes all the way back to like normal, where you do the wrap, so that you can knit 2 together all the way over. So you're going to do knit 2 together for 8. It'll probably be, I think it'd probably be about 7 when you do it, or 10 when you do a 10 set or something along those lines. But what you've done is you just created a point here, okay? So you've got a point here, and 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 it'll show up when you bind off, okay? But this is the concept you're wanting to do, is do the 2 points with a point on top, okay? And so you're creating a kind of triangle off the base of your hat, all right? And this is going to, when you sew it all together, it's going to give you a crown area. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time, okay? And it's going to end up crossing over. But you've just completed this one, and you want to prep for the next one. So you want to knit over 5. 1, 3, 4, 5. And if you ever wonder if you're in the right spot, you want it to be, there's your end of that diamond, there's beginning, you want it to stop at the beginning of that diamond. Okay, so if you ever feel like you lose track. Alright, so that starts you, and you're going to repeat the same thing you just did here, and yes, you will be doing a crossover section like you normally would, okay? Then you'll be working your way back, and you should end up stopping right here, okay? You're going to stop here when you do the work your way back, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to start binding off. And you will have 2 stitches on there. We're going to do a purling bind off rather than a knit, so that you can keep this beautiful edging going on in the texturing and the crown. So go ahead and pause the video and complete this knit and complete all your triangles starting from where I showed you. Again, to get started with that, you'll knit over 9 and then start your diamond and go from there. Okay, and then I showed you how to set it up to go to the next one, but you're still following your diamonds, okay, from your previous set. Okay, so like I'm fixing it, I'm following from this set here and then working to a point. Alright, and so that's what you're wanting to create. You're wanting to create, if you're working with diamonds, how to create a point from what you've got. And you'll have 5 points on this particular pattern. If you're working with a different size loom, your points may vary. But this one works up evenly because I had 10 total diamonds. It's going to work up evenly to have 10 diamonds. If you have an odd number of diamonds, this may not work up so easily on the crown area. So I would suggest having an even number of diamonds you're working with so that you have this option to be able to kind of stack them on top of each other. Alright, I've finished all my points and I've stopped at my starting point. Okay, and now I'm going to do a bind off, and it's basically like a regular bind off except you're purling instead. What you're finding is that I am actually pulling and purling those 2 together, moving back 1, tossing the bottom loop over, and moving over 1. As I said, it's very similar. Take it back, toss the bottom loop over. And if you've got a single stitch, you just purl it like normal. If you got 2, purl the 2 together. Alright. So you're going to do this all the way around where you're purling, moving it back 1, tossing the bottom loop over, and moving it over 1. Purl 1, purl the 2 together, move it back 1, toss the bottom loop over. And you're going to do this all the way around. And I'm just now getting to a single. And the reason why I'm doing this immediately rather than just doing a purled row and then doing a bind off is because I want this purled texture to stay and be able to sew up where you don't notice there's a seam. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video and complete your bind off all the way around. And so you want to bind it off all the way around doing this method, and then I'll show you how to go about sewing this up, and you'll see your points when I'm done binding off. So go ahead and pause the video, bind off, and then I'll go about showing you how to sew it up. Okay, you see that you've created these points. All these points need to get connected. Alright, and then you're going to be sewing down the sides like that. Well, we stopped in the middle of a partial side. You can either choose to go down to the base or choose to go up to the points, connect all your points, and do it that way. I think what I'll do is go back down to my base. So I'm going to weave this down to the base. Okay. And what I want to do is I want to sew up the sides on this one. Okay. And what I want to do is grab those inner, you'll see these chains, you want to grab the inner one. Okay. Because when you grab the inner one, you're allowing that purled appearance to continue. And you just follow the chain up. Okay, and then you'll want to probably, once you get to the point, you'll want to connect the next one, sew your way down, and you can sew your way back up. Connect the next one, sew your way down, sew your way back up. Connect the last one, sew your way down, sew your way back up, and close in that hole, and you should have a crown area. Okay, as you can kind of see what that's going to look like. Okay, I'll show you how to kind of get that set up, and then after that I'm going to tell you to finish up your hat, and you'll be done. So, and this is very sensitive yarn, so you may want to use something in a similar color to sew it up, or you may want to be as gentle as possible when sewing this up with the yarn that you have. Okay, I've reached my top. I'm going to grab my next point, which is over here. Okay, I'll send it through. That connects it, and you may want to turn this inside out. Grab that and turn it inside out. You might find it's easier to do this way. Okay, now that we've connected that one, we're going to sew down. Okay, we've sewn down, and we'll need to sew it back up to the point. See, you can cut if you choose, but I like not to. So I'm just going to kind of do a light sew up. It doesn't have to be real specific. You're not really going to see that one all this much. So just send it through so you can get back to a starting point. I don't take much time with that. Okay, so you're back to your starting point here at the top of the hat. Okay, so you've got 2 points. 1, 2. Alright, what you want to do now, find the top point of your next one and join it in. Okay, so there's your point of your next one. Join it. Alright, and then you sew down and up. And then you join the next one, sew down and up. and then so down and up, and then you can kind of string it together, and then you're done with the top of the hat, and that is how you do the crown.